YouTube's biggest family channel, the Ace family, have been divorced now for about a year and a half, and Austin McBroom has seen himself beefing with his ex-wife via Snapchat stories because of some new information that's going to be released via her book. Yes, you heard that correctly. These are two grown adults with 3 kids airing out their grievances with each other in front of millions via Snapchat stories. God, those poor children. But anyway, a lot of the internet is actually rather split in terms of like who is more in the wrong here, because the stories being told about each other from both sides are pretty horrific. And as sad as it is to see this type of insane, childish behavior being exhibited by what is supposed to be 2 mature adults, I mean, they have children, you know, you're meant to be at some level of maturity, ideally, before you have children, especially when your entire career is publicizing how you treat and parent those children. But whatever, right? That's not how it went down, obviously, and as sad as that is, it's still something that I'd like to take a look at with yous. Before I do that though, I do just want to genuinely apologize for the mistake that I made in the last video in leaving out a crucial trigger warning before I showed some DV on the screen. It was a genuine oversight on my part, and I really should have known better. I did eventually put a trigger warning in the pinned comment, but realistically, I'm aware that this just isn't good enough. It just doesn't compare to actually having one in the video. But you can rest assured that in the future, if anything similar comes up, or I need to show footage of a similar arc, that I will give the appropriate warnings, because I did feel genuinely dead guilty about it, so yeah, sorry. But anyway, back to the topic of this video. Before we dive into the first video that Austin made, I guess I should cover who exactly the Ace family are for those who don't know. I'll make it quick because it's really not that complicated. Think generic exploitative family channel and then amp the, I guess, popularity to 50 times what you're expecting, and that's the Ace family. Here's their YouTube channel. They've got 18 million subscribers, and that is after losing a lot, by the way, because they've been inactive for like a year and a half since the divorce. I mean, look, to be honest, I don't even think I need to show any of these videos. Like, if you just read the titles and look at the thumbnails, you know everything you need to know about this channel. Okay, some of these are fucking insane, though. Like, what is this one? Our 2-year-old's birthday party was ruined. Really sad. Mate, Spider-Man's there. That looks like a fucking belter of a party. How could it be really sad and you have Spider-Man at the party? Maybe it was sad because you were shoving the camera in every aspect of that party and completely ruining the big day for your son. Teaching my 6-year-old how to drive, she crashed. Mate, what is this video?
Come up on a stop sign, so what do you do on a stop sign?
Stop.
Nothing gets past her. She's going places, this lassie.
See? That was nice. You didn't do it too aggressive, you did it light.
I'll be honest, she probably did it lightly because she's 6 fucking years old. Like, her using her entire strength is probably, like, unironically just the right amount of pressure. Like, if you were a driving instructor, unironically, a good instruction to give would be, like, press it with all the might of a 6-year-old, and that's the perfect amount. Like, I'm criticizing, like, fucking 2-year-old content right now. This is not part of the video, but let's just get to the crash, right?
Park straight. Pull in, pull in. Good, good. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh my god, slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh my god, slow down.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh god, how are they still alive? Mate, look at her smiling, she's fucking tough as nails. How their fucking heads are still attached to their bodies after that brutal crash, I will never understand. One thing I did notice, which I think is dodgy, is when you go into their description, it says, stalk us with a smiley face, which is fine, right? It's like a humorous, quirky thing to put in the description so you put your socials on there, right? I have the same thing. My Instagram link's like the top of all my descriptions. Go follow my Instagram, by the way. But noticeably, they have the Instagram of their daughter, like, in the description of their videos, which is one thing, but when you pair that with the demand of stalk us and then put your daughter's Instagram on there, am I being too pedantic in saying that I find that to be a little bit irresponsible? Yeah, this girl's 7 years old and she's got 3.8 million fucking followers. That's utterly insane. So yeah, I think this intro gives you a pretty good idea of who the channel is for those who don't know, and a little bit of just how exploitative they are of their children, like all family channels to be fair, but this one especially because of the size of their channel and the amount that they use their children in their content. I mean, their kid, their 7-year-old daughter, has an entire fucking Instagram with 4 million followers dedicated to them. But anyway, now it's time to actually look at the video that Austin posted in response to the snippet of Catherine's book that was released before its release, because I guess he was scared from that wee snippet of what the entire book was going to contain, and wanted to release a video preemptively to, I guess, predict what was going to be said and ruin her credibility as well, so that it softens the blow for what happens to him. Now, don't worry, we will read that snippet when it becomes relevant, but for the first bit of Austin's video, it really isn't too relevant, so let's hear him out.
Hey guys, I never expected to be here today to talk to you guys what I'm about to get ready to talk to you guys about. I never wanted to talk about this. For many reasons. I think the biggest reason is to protect the most important people in my life, which is the mother of my kids and my kids.
Alright, pal, can we just get to the fucking point here?
Blindsided because, as you guys know, and what you guys have seen for the past year and a half, Catherine and I have the best co-parenting situation that any parent can ever ask for. We actually have a better relationship now than we did when we were married. I look at Catherine as a best friend, someone that I talk to every day, not just about kids, but about life. She called me last week about her boyfriend, how he had a homeless guy sleeping in his car. I was just over her house bringing the kids pizza, not just the kids, but her and her boyfriend pizza. We were all sitting in her living room eating the pizza, laughing and smiling. And then the next morning is when the snippet of her book comes out, and it talks about how I'm a terrible person and how I was a terrible husband.
Okay, first of all, before we get to his grievances or whatever, I do genuinely hope that's true. Not for his sake, I don't give a fuck about him, to be honest, but for the kids, obviously, because those are the people who are worthy of worry here. Austin and Catherine have both been exploiting their children for years now, for millions. Like, they have become millionaires off the back of exploiting their children. They're the biggest family channel on the fucking internet. And I can definitely get behind the two of you being more cordial after you split up, since, you know, I guess that was the whole reason you split up. You weren't getting along no more, because being married to each other just wasn't making you happy. So, obviously, just logically, you not being married would make you happier than when you were married. And if you're both happier, then you'll probably be able to get along with each other a lot better. You know, going through a divorce when you have children that are that young is obviously like a big sacrifice and a big decision to make. A lot of parents who don't get along at that point in their lives when they have children who are like that young, toddlers even if they don't necessarily get along as much as they did a couple years back, or they don't even like each other necessarily, a lot of parents decide to plug along and stay together for the sake of their children. And to an extent, that is a good idea, but obviously there is a limit to that, and if, you know, you go past that line, it's better to divorce, because you don't want children growing up in a home where the parents fucking despise each other and are constantly fighting. And with two conflicting egos of the heads of the biggest family channel on the internet, yeah, I don't have trouble imagining that their personalities would clash a lot of the time. But I do hope what he's saying here is true and the co-parenting situation is as good as it possibly can be. But anyway, I'm guessing here is where shit gets dark, so let's have a listen.
Not once did she ever come to me and talk to me about this book. Yes, I was aware she was writing this book for the past however long, and I actually congratulated her when I first found out she was writing a book, because obviously I had no idea what the book was about. I just was very proud of her that she was doing something new and something for herself. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Catherine recently just released a snippet of her book that she wrote alongside a professional author that helped her write this book. And the book was manipulated, and she did not tell the full truth, which is why I'm here today to tell you guys the full truth and to tell you guys what really happened.
Okay, so a couple things there. If what he's saying is true and it completely went down like this, I'm sure Catherine has some shit to say about this, so we'll get to that later, don't you worry. And don't make the mistake of thinking that I'm taking Austin at his word. I'm not. I'm purely saying, if this is true, fuck me, what a snaky move. I mean, for you two to be together with the children, eating pizza, having a gay old time, having a laugh, enjoying yourself, watching him, like looking at him eye to eye, and listening to him congratulate you for writing this new book, knowing in your heart of hearts that the book is going to completely fucking destroy him, and knowing that he doesn't know that. Because it's Austin McBroom, I don't feel bad for him, it's just fucking funny. And if Catherine wasn't an exploitative mug, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it, to be honest. You gotta respect that to an extent. Like, she's got these horrific stories about him written in this book, and she's looking at him in the eye, knowing what she has in that book, going like, oh, I appreciate you, Austin, thank you so much for your kind words. Obviously, on one hand, it is fucking awful, and then on the other, you have to see the funny side of it. But no, honestly, if I'm looking at it in good faith and like thinking about it logically and pragmatically, it's a shitty thing to do. I also want to acknowledge the whole thing about, oh, she's writing it with a professional author. Let's be fucking real here. The professional author is writing it, not Catherine. Catherine is just the one who has lived the life and is probably telling the stories to the author so that she can turn them into words and sort of like write them in a way that sounds good and flowery and author-like, professional. Anyway, let's read the snippet of the book that Austin's getting so angry about so that we can understand what exactly he's on about for the rest of this video. My heart felt heavy as I watched my husband, but I did what I did best. I masked it. When the song finished, he made the rounds of schmoozing with people who fed his ego until it was time to go home. I didn't say anything to him that night. I should have. I should have grabbed his hand in the locker room and asked, "Why don't you want me beside you?" But I didn't. Instead, I filed it away, buried the pain. In that moment, though, I felt a subtle shift, the beginning of the end, and just a few months later, everything came crashing down for real. I found out Austin had been cheating on me. Not a suspicion, not a rumor. Proof. I mean, to be fair, this is written like fiction. Like the short, powerful sentences, the one-word sentences in some case. But once again, if this is true, which honestly, let's be real, this is fucking true. I have no issue at all believing that Austin was cheating on this lassie during their relationship, and that probably had a big part to play in why they divorced. And when you pair that with the fact that they're obviously the biggest family channel on the internet, yeah, undoubtable piece of shit. But everyone knows Austin's a piece of shit. Like, this is not a surprise to anybody. And to treat your wife like that and that disrespectfully in public and for other people, it's a form of abuse in my opinion. Like, cheating on your wife when you've got 3 children and a whole business surrounded upon you being with them, and in a public setting like that as well, schmoozing around with other people, completely disregarding them, is fucking abusive behavior. Now, obviously, we know that Austin is gonna come back with a lot of shit that Catherine was allegedly doing that was similarly, like, abusive or immoral. So we will wait a little bit before we pass too much judgment. For now, let's just finish the rest of this snippet. I'd seen her there, pretty, a hanger-on, standing just close enough to feel out of place, yet comfortable enough to belong. I had noticed her in the way you catch something that doesn't quite fit, a puzzle piece jammed into the wrong spot. I'd even wondered, who invited her? Now, I knew. It all made sense. Ooh, colon. I like that. That was definitely the professional author that did that. He hadn't wanted me next to him. The shrug. The indifference. The way he treated me that night. As if I were a thorn in his side. That realization wasn't an explosion. It wasn't rage or shouting or throwing things. It was slower. Heavier. A knife to the gut that didn't cut fast but pressed in. Deeper and deeper. Until I could feel it in my bones. Or rather, my heart. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the realization that I had been living inside a lie, that our life, the one we had built with camera angles and clickbait and perfectly timed edits, was hollowing out beneath me. An illusion created for millions to see, but never for me to truly live. So she's not being entirely genuine here either. Because I'm not being funny here, but you were a part of those videos. You were there doing second takes, third, fourth, possibly even like, I don't know how many fucking takes you were doing for these videos, and how many takes you were forcing your kids to do as well for the perfect thumbnail, the perfect edit, the perfect take, the fake prank. You were complicit in all the fake bollocks going on the channel, so don't act as though you actually thought it was real and that you were the one being manipulated here. It's like, no, you were the one doing the manipulation. And Austin, to be fair, probably more so him, but don't act like you weren't a part of it. Like, obviously, yeah, it's really fucking awful that Austin would cheat, especially that blatantly and that disrespectfully. I was also newly pregnant with our 3rd child, so I carried it alone. You know, that is awful. Like, yeah, you have to feel bad for her still. And look, to be fair, this is just a snippet from the book, so it's very possible that she talks a bit more about what she regrets, what she might have done wrong, how manipulative the videos were, and her part in that whole procedure. It's not fair for me to judge the entire book based on this one snippet here. I am definitely being too judgmental, and based on this, like, yeah, you gotta feel fucking bad for her. Like, she's pregnant with your 3rd child, and you're cheating on her that blatantly. I don't even know why I'm bringing up the fact that it was blatant, like that changes anything. You just cheating on her in general is as bad as it gets, really. Especially when she's fucking pregnant. Like, God, you are just you're such a bastard, you. Anyway, now that we've seen that, we'll watch more of Austin's video, because I'm very interested now to see what he's gonna say.
I don't know about you guys, but I find it very odd that the first chapter of her book is about me and not about her. It's about me and how I was a terrible person and a terrible husband, when this book is supposed to be an autobiography about her life. It could have been in anything else. She talks about her family in the book. She talks about ayahuasca. She talks about her new guy.
I don't find it odd. I don't find that odd at all. And I don't know why you find it odd at all. Because you know the fucking internet. You know how it works, presumably. With all due respect, no one gives a fuck about Catherine's new guy. No one gives a fuck about ayahuasca. What people do give a fuck about is Austin McBroom. So it makes total sense that the first chapter of Catherine's book is about Austin McBroom. Because the amount of people, because if your chapter was the last one, for example, the amount of people who would just buy the book and skip immediately to that last chapter because they want to read about you, because that's really what the book is about. The other shit is there for padding, in my opinion. Like, this book is about Austin McBroom. That is what people are interested in, and that's what her and her publisher know that people are interested in. It makes total sense for you to be the center of that first chapter, especially because the Ace family is without doubt the biggest part of her life. It's the way that she made her money, it's the way that she exploited her children, it's probably the reason why her children are going to be traumatized and mentally fucked for the rest of their lives. Hey, I didn't say that it was a good thing, but it is an important thing, so it doesn't shock me that it's the first chapter in the book. I don't think it shocks you either. I just think you're spinning it in bad faith to make it seem less reliable. Because who's buying this book? Previous Ace Family fans or people who are interested in the Ace Family? No one interested in the Ace Family goes, oh, I wonder what Catherine's experience with her ayahuasca was. No, they're wondering, well, Austin McBroom is undoubtedly a piece of shit. I wonder how that manifested in their relationship, because it definitely had something to do with why they broke up.
But she wanted to use me in this snippet to reel everybody in for clickbait and to monetize from the book.
Yes! Fucking duh! That's just business, man! You should know this. You were using your children for clickbait for years. The fucking barefaced cheek for you to sit there and complain about being used for clickbait when you're a fully grown man who's been using your 3 non-consenting children for clickbait to make your millions. She's writing this book for money. Why does anyone write a fucking book? Don't get me wrong, she's no saint here. But this is making it really difficult to side with you. Just can't believe how fucking unself-aware and hypocritical this bollocks is. If you're saying this as the owner of the Ace Family channel, it should be running through your mind like, oh, this is what I've been doing to my children for my entire adult life. Like, their 3 children could unironically grow up and make a clip exactly like this, and in that case, it would actually be fucking warranted.
Usually when someone writes an autobiography about their life, it starts with, hey, my name is.
Unless you're Slim Shady, no it doesn't, man. If you opened up an autobiography by someone that you're interested in and the first line was, hey, my name is, you'd probably think, if you're a self-respecting adult, is this book for fucking 3-year-olds? Like, why am I reading this? I know your name, it's the fucking title of the book. I will say though, if Eminem were to make an autobiography, unironically, that would be the best way to start it.
It was a setup. Reason why I say a setup is because when we went through our separation and we decided to announce it to the world, her and I were trying to figure out what was the best way of doing it. I felt the best way of doing it was coming out with a YouTube video together, her and I side by side. And I even told her that, hey, I'll do all the talking, I'll take full accountability for my actions and all the mistakes that I've made. I said, you don't have to say anything if you don't want. Even though you've made mistakes and I've made mistakes, go ahead and take all the blame. She didn't want to do that. So it left me with no choice but to make my own video. I decided to make my own YouTube video, and in that video, I basically exposed myself. And it's crazy because I still have that video today, which I'm going to show you guys right now. Here's the video. The video is over 30 minutes long, so obviously I'm not going to share the whole video, but I'm just going to share a short snippet to show you guys.
Well, you could share the whole video on like a separate YouTube account or link it somewhere and just put it up unlisted or even public, to be fair, if you really want to prove your point here and prove what you're saying is the truth. Because just word of mouth and you saying like, you know what, I was going to take full accountability, I was going to be the nice guy, I wasn't going to let, even though she fucked up loads and was a horrible fucking awful person, a horrible individual, way worse than me to be honest with you, I wasn't going to let people know that because I'm such a nice wee boy who everyone should love. It's like, I just don't believe you, mate, because you're a fucking arsehole and everyone knows it and it's so obvious. I could probably think of 19 reasons why you shouldn't trust Austin McBroom without even knowing him off the top of my head in like 5 seconds. So when you paint yourself out to be this fucking deity-like figure, I just don't believe you. Especially when there's obviously not really any evidence of this conversation taking place, or you taking accountability and letting her off scot-free. Although there is actually nothing scot-free about this situation, because McBroom, despite sounding like the janitor's name in a child's cartoon, is actually a Scottish surname. So McBroom, I don't know if you know this, pal, but you're from these ends. It's a shame that, really, makes the country look bad.
It caused me to seek it elsewhere. It caused me to make bad decisions. I admit, I failed as a husband. So, as you guys can see, it was 30 minutes of the video of me just exposing myself.
Stop describing it as you exposing yourself on camera for 30 minutes. It makes it sound like something dodgier than it is. Or maybe not, to be fair. We've only seen that little snippet. Maybe it goes somewhere that we're not expecting. But just to reiterate, we really did only see that tiny snippet where it does sound as though he is admitting that he was cheating, but one, the video never went out, so it doesn't actually mean much at all. And secondly, and more obviously, that really was like the fucking smallest snippet ever. Show us the video.
I obviously shared that video with her to get her approval before posting it. And long story, she didn't want me to post it. And this is what she had to say about it. Also want you guys to know that I'm gonna have receipts throughout this entire video. And the reason why I have some of these receipts is because I knew that one day it was a possibility of something like this happening. And you guys have seen it time and time again, where couples break up and there's always some sort of exposing. And so I just wanted to be able to have my own truth just in case something like this happened.
This is why they divorced, by the way. Like, it's clear as day when you actually listen to how they speak about each other, like unintentionally exposing just how horrific their relationship was. Imagine screenshotting conversations with somebody who was very recently your actual wife, the mother of your children, because you know that they're not trustworthy, because you don't trust them enough to not fucking expose you later on in life. Like, the two of them don't trust each other. The two of them are screenshotting every message that they send to each other because they don't trust each other and think that they're going to get exposed by the other one at some point in their life. The fact that he's seen this coming and was screenshotting messages in real time because of it tells you everything you need to know. Not just about her, but about him as well. Because I've got no doubt that she didn't trust him either, for fucking obvious reasons, to be fair. Who would trust the owner of the biggest family channel in history that cheated on you multiple times?
So is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't have to worry about, like, you, like, saying something, like, after or something? So I'm basically asking her, like, what is okay for me to say? She showed me her statement that she had, and I was like, okay, well, I had no say in that. You're doing what you want to do. Am I allowed to do what I want to do?
No, you just say
Okay.
you were happy.
Okay.
What you said in your video. I just think your video would have been, you would have had a lot of backlash. I think this way is much more organic.
So as you heard what she said that if I was going to release this video, I would get a lot of backlash, as if she cared about me getting backlash. What is happening now? You would expect her to be okay with, back then, we were separating at that time, to be okay with me getting backlash, or her saying what she needed to say back then. But a year and a half later, you didn't want me to put this video out because you didn't want me to get backlash. Then what's happening now? Why not?
To be fair to Austin, that does look quite bad and sleazy on her part, because it makes it look as though she wants to be the one to break the news of Austin's cheating so that she can take the credit for publicizing this insane story of abuse that she went through, when she had the opportunity to, you know, make it public months earlier in a way more healthy and respectable way, in my opinion. Now look, with that being said, there's a couple things to think about as well. First of which is that she obviously might have just changed her mind. Maybe she was okay with people not knowing at that point, and then as time went on, seeing the quote-unquote good publicity that Austin's getting, knowing that he cheated on her, maybe she felt some type of way, changed her mind, and wanted the world to know that he cheated on her. And she's allowed to change her mind. I think that's fine, right? Definitely would have been a good move to talk to him about it first, though, before you make an entire book about the subject, especially when he offered to make it public beforehand, in my opinion. And all of this rings even more true when there are 3 children involved, because they are absolutely collateral to this whole argument and public debate that you two are having. It's bad enough when 2 parents are arguing in front of their children, let alone millions of people online and those children. Obviously, cheating is a fucking horrible thing to do to somebody, but he was offering to make it public for you. And when you make cheating public in the way that Catherine did in that book, it's not just him that gets fucked from it, right? I don't give, because again, I don't give a fuck about him getting fucked. He cheated, he's a horrible person, he fucking deserves it for all I care. It's the children, because those kids are gonna grow up with everyone in the world knowing, oh, you're that kid whose parents are absolute pieces of shit. Yeah, you're the one whose dad was fucking loads of other girls while he was still with your mum. And your mum's the one who tricked him and then used that story for her own gain. Oh man, what a family you have. This is what I mean, like, it's the kids who I feel most sorry for here. In terms of the whole beef between Catherine and Austin, I feel like we're a little bit too early into the video to be as decisive as I would like to be, but so far, with just how deceptive and hypocritical Austin's being, I just can't in good faith trust exactly what he's showing us because it's so cherry-picked and it's such small snippets. But if it is what it seems, then yeah, it doesn't look good. But you're still a mug. Fortunately though, Catherine actually has responded to this section of the video, so let's hear what she has to say about it.
A year and a half ago to 2 years ago, this was around the time that we were separating and planning, like, you know, the next journey of our lives, you know, separating and making these really big decisions and this really big move. And when we were discussing, like, us sharing it with you guys, I had mentioned that I really wanted to do a statement. And I thought that, you know, maybe we could do a statement together. And he said, no, I really want to make a video, like a video. And I told him, I don't want to be in a video. And internally, I didn't want to sit side by side with someone that I didn't feel like was going to actually be truthfully honest, because he wasn't even being honest with me and within our relationship. So I knew for sure he wasn't going to do it on camera. And so I didn't want to be in the video. And so he said, I'll make a video and then you let me know if you like it. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, you know, I'll watch your video, like make your video. I'd love to watch it. And I was actually curious on what he'd say. And so I watched it and I just didn't feel like it was being sincere. Just genuinely wasn't feeling like sincere, like he was being sincere. And so I told him that, and he recorded me. I didn't know he recorded me, and now in hindsight, when I look back, it's all making sense. It's almost like a tactic.
Yeah, that is a big part of it that I didn't mention. I was going to, but for some reason I forgot. Austin was recording her without her knowledge. I was curious as to whether or not she knew she was being recorded and it was like a thing that they both agreed on. But if he was recording her without her knowing that she was being recorded, that does genuinely, in my opinion, change fucking everything, because he is altering his behavior knowing that he's being recorded. He can ask her leading questions to solicit a certain response from her that he can then use in the future because he knows how the fucking internet works. You know, he's screenshotting the messages she sends him. He's recording all the conversations that they have. He's making these videos. He knows that shit is going to go down at some point in the future. We haven't seen that type of careful planning from Catherine yet, so we have no reason to believe that she was planning this shit maliciously and like plotting this fucking scheme for months at this point. We do have reason to believe that Austin, however, was. I just hate when one person's recording in a situation where the other one doesn't know they're being recorded and that's used as evidence for something in most cases, because it's so manipulative. Or maybe a better way of phrasing it is that it can be used really manipulatively, because that person can alter their behavior to make themselves look as good as possible, can ask the leading questions, can even act really bad to solicit a reaction out the other person, then just cut it out and put it out online and say, look at how horrible she was being. There's just so much shit that we don't know that Austin has complete power over, because he's the one who was recording and Catherine had no idea. Very dodgy behavior on his part for sure.
Like, he knew the video wasn't gonna ever be posted, and he kept it in his phone, like for like a rainy day or something. Maybe he thought eventually maybe I'd like speak up and like share my story. I don't know, but it just feels like that, like it's all obvious, you know, and it just sucks that I have to even address that because he went so far. And like, I understand like there's anger because I wanted to tell my story and just share like a memoir, but yeah, a lot of that is very like false.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind the theory, if you want to call it that, that all of this was a preemptive move from Austin to build a defense for when this inevitably came out. Now, that being said, I have seen some things and heard some stuff, and Catherine has done a lot of bad shit as well, but so far, yeah, Austin's a fucking untrustworthy mug, and I can't believe he thought that people weren't going to see through this shit. Well, to be fair, I can believe it. It's Austin McBroom.
I'm basically just asking her if it's okay for me to tell how I feel in my side of the story. And this is what she proceeds to say. Okay, that's good. That's
Because now I'm finally...
This is the thing, right? Because instead of just playing him asking those questions, he says, I asked her these questions and this is what she said. It's like, no. If you have the recording there, then just play the full thing. I don't need you to interject, say what you said, and then play what she said, because you could easily just be lying about what you said and then not play it because you have the power to do so. You get it?
But I do agree what you're saying is that you don't want to feel like you're being attacked in any way, or like I'm
gonna have to keep worried about you.
I don't want you.
Because the concern was that, is she gonna keep bringing me up time and time again for however long? So I'm asking her, hey, if you're gonna continue to do this, then I'm gonna have to do it as well.
Because I don't want you to worry about that, because that's not the case.
Okay.
And I want you to know that that's not the case.
I know, but again,
I'm not here.
But again,
Because if that was the case, if you really truly think about it, that would have happened years ago. If that was really my way, my
yeah, but you know how people are over after breakups. It's like, no, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general, right? Would you agree that women are like,
sure,
they keep,
fucked up.
yeah, they
That's
keep
weird.
fucking be playing the victim, like,
I fucking can't
oh
stand
my
that shit.
god, that's what I'm saying. She said that I can't stand that shit.
I just don't like that you're recording the fucking conversation. You're trying to bait her. There is no other reason for you to record without telling her than you are trying to bait her into saying what you know will help you if this ever becomes public. You're trying to get her to say that she won't do anything and that she hates girls who play the victim because you know that when she comes out about what actually happened and tells people that she is a genuine victim, you can use this against her. Let's be real, Catherine. You know that girls love to play the victim after a breakup. I don't know. Is she really playing the victim? I mean, you did cheat on her multiple times. I would call that, like, you know, actually being a victim. Even when you're recording a conversation and she doesn't know about it, you still somehow look like the more narcissistic and misogynistic one. It's like, no, you're recording without her consent. You should be looking good here. Imagine what the conversations were like when he wasn't fucking recording. Anyway, here's Austin's direct response to the snippet that we were reading just a second ago.
To show that that is proof that I had another girl there that I was supposedly talking to and I was cheating on her with, when that is not true at all. Think about this. Why would I invite another girl there when this whole event is about my family and this event is about me and Catherine's bond? Why would I want that girl to see that? Me hugging and kissing and grabbing my wife's ass. You guys didn't want to show these clips. Me holding my wife's hand. But you guys want to bring up a clip where it was 5 seconds of a video of me giving my speech, and then when I gave Catherine to Mike to tell her speech, I step away for a second to catch my breath because I just got done playing in an hour-long basketball game, and I wanted to catch my breath and I wanted to wipe the sweat off of my forehead, and then I get right back next to her. She wants to use that specific moment out of all the 10 years we've ever been through anything to define me as a terrible person and a terrible husband.
Now, we'll have a look at that clip, obviously, but in terms of that defense, it's an interesting defense, to say the least, a high-level maneuver. Who knows how much validity there is to it, because the whole defense is, why would I do such a thing? But, like, I wouldn't put it past him. Obviously, that's not me saying it's true, because I just don't know. Like, every drama on the internet, when there's no solid evidence either which way, you just can't say for sure. But he has already admitted to cheating on her, so, like, he is still a cheater, maybe just not on that day.
My arm is completely around her the whole time I'm talking. But she says that she feels unseen.
You can put your arm around anyone. You can put your arm around a fucking dog. How does this prove that she has no right to not feel seen? It's just a wee clip of you putting your arm around her on camera in front of the entire audience, in front of the entire internet, very possibly for vain reasons, because you know you need to look like a good couple. The fact that he's using this as like undisputable evidence is very strange.
Let's get into the cheating. When it comes to me stepping out of my marriage, I did. I 100% stepped out of my marriage, and it was completely wrong for me to do it. I take full accountability. If I can go back and change it, I would. And I'm sorry for that. I truly am.
Bro, look at him trying to, like, fucking shed a tear now. This is pathetic. Look at his face, man.
But when it comes to her acting like she had no idea what was going on, that is a complete lie. Catherine knew what I was dealing with for a very long time.
Yeah, I did cheat on the mother of my 3 children, but she knew about it, so it's okay. Okay, look, to be fair, I did cut him off. Let's hear what he has to say. Maybe he'll save himself and justify it completely.
And I would voice how I feel about how I felt like I was getting no affection from her. There was a year period where we had no sex, and I would vent to her what I needed. And her exact words verbatim on my kids, she said, just don't make me look dumb. Don't embarrass me. I don't know what that means to you guys, but to me it sounds like Go do whatever you need to do because I'm not capable of giving you what you need. And tells you guys that back in 2018, 2019, I basically ruined her life because I stepped out of our marriage and she had no idea.
This bloke is the most ignorant goon I've ever seen on the internet. And that is really saying something. Like, what type of actual... You were crying in the last video talking about, like, in that 30-minute video from a year back, talking about how bad it was that you cheated or whatever. If you had the green light, then you didn't do anything wrong, unless you manipulated her into giving you that green light. And here's the thing. If you're gonna go cheat on your wife because you had permission from her, you fucking make sure that you actually have explicit permission from her, not permission in the form of a riddle. If she says that shit to you and you take it as, oh, okay, I can go do whatever I want, it's like, no. Ask her, does that mean I can, you know, go, are we, like, open now? Is that what we're doing here? Don't just interpret what she has said as, okay, cool, I'm gonna go fuck around now. It's shocking how awful their communication sounds considering how long they've been together. And that really just goes to show the vanity and fakeness that their marriage has been having for, like, the entire time that it's been a thing. This is like classic Family Channel bullshit. You could easily interpret that statement of, like, just don't embarrass me, don't make me look dumb as, like, don't go out and cheat on me because it'll make me look like a fool. You know, heartbreak is one thing, but my ego's another. I beg you don't
So much to where she stayed with me another 5-6 years after that. She continued to film every YouTube video with me after that. She even went as far as defending me, defending my name when people would ask her about me stepping out. Even to where a few months after that event of her being so hurt that a few months later, she even says, I'm her soulmate.
My soulmate, I know for a fact that it's Austin, and I also believe that my life partner is also Austin, which is really interesting because it has a lot to do with my life, my traumas, and my past, even in my past life. It has to do with domino effects in my life, and that's why I was brought to Austin, and that's why we manifested each other, and I really feel...
What is she on about? What is this fucking weird... What is this video? I wouldn't be surprised if Austin wrote that shit. Austin, I'm not being funny, but you know how fake your channel was. The whole thing, the thumbnails were fake, the titles were fake, the situations were fake, every fucking thing was scripted. Don't matter how many times you say I love you on camera, we know it's all a bunch of fake bullshit. You were cheating on her, you were being unfaithful, you were going out with other women, shagging other women, and apparently she knew all about it. This relationship is fucked, man. And that's not even to mention the children that she's having and the postpartum depression that comes with that and the amount that it fucks your chemicals up. She must have been like a constant hormonal mess. There's just so many factors here that are unaccounted for that you are very clearly manipulating and have a lot of control over and are being very disingenuous about. Showing clips from your YouTube channel as proof of anything doesn't work when your YouTube channel is faker than the average Pornhub ad. Not that I would know, obviously.
I'm her soulmate and life partner. Someone that is destroyed would never say that. I wasn't even in that video. That was all on her. I wasn't sitting next to her. She did that on her own. At this point, there was rumors that came out, never pictures or videos, because one thing she said was, just don't embarrass me. Came out, and when the rumors started coming out, that's when she then really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because you've got a business to run. This is how you make your money. You lie for a fucking living. Why would she go on camera at the height of your careers and popularity when you're getting millions of views off of being a good couple and say something along the lines of, Austin is actually a shitbag who cheats on me constantly? Because if she did that, your business is fucked. She has every reason to want to lie about how good you are, and you know that, and you're being deliberately disingenuous here because you think you can fool people. But I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think even like the most naive fucker on the internet is dumb enough to take this in and go like, you know what? Austin McBroom is actually making a lot of good points. I'm trying to think, has he actually made a good point so far? Maybe I thought he did when I first watched a video, but in hindsight, I don't think so.
There's a video here where she just doesn't care.
Okay, so nobody knows the truth, the tears and the yelling. Nobody knows what I went through. We're a fucking team, bro. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sorry.
Give a
Like,
shit, she
I'm
said.
not sorry, but I'm sorry. Like, I just don't care. What the hell happened?
Again, she's saying how she just doesn't care, she doesn't give a shit, and she's been through a lot because she knows what she's been through. But we've never shared it. She'd be talking about that she just doesn't care. We talked about everything in our lives besides our relationship. And there's a reason for that. Up until this point. Regardless of the fact that she knew about it, still does not make what I was doing right. At all. But did I have a reason for why I was doing what I was doing? 100%.
Alright, from now on, every clip that he takes from his YouTube channel as evidence, I'm completely disregarding for obvious reasons. I've stated it a couple of times in this video already. I'm sure you're sick of fucking hearing it, but we all know how fake that bastard channel is. It cannot be used as evidence at all. It would be like if I told you, Chick-fil-A tastes like shit, you know, which I went to America. It doesn't. It's actually quite nice. But imagine two things. One, you've never had a Chick-fil-A before, and two, that I am sat here trying to convince you as well as I can that Chick-fil-A tastes of absolute dog shit. It's the worst meal in the world. And you know what, pal? I'm gonna prove it to you. So hold your blindfolds on, and I'm just gonna pass a Chick-fil-A burger into your mouth like a fucking conveyor belt. You do as I say, you put the blindfolds on, and instead of putting a Chick-fil-A burger in your mouth, I put an actual piece of dog shit in your mouth, and then go, see, I told you Chick-fil-A tastes like shit, I told you. That standard of evidence is about the same as trusting the Ace Family YouTube channel as any type of evidence.
I would try harder to help her through the situation that she was going through. And that's what I thought her spiritual journey was doing. When she first came to me and told me that she wanted to do ayahuasca, for those of you who don't know what ayahuasca is, you can look it up for yourself. The research I've done and the friends that told me about it have said it is a legal substance that can cause someone to hallucinate and have you believe something that is not true. Look it up for yourself. And so when she first came to me and talked to me about how she wanted to do ayahuasca, in my head, I was 100% against it. Something that I do not believe in. I believe in God. But because I'm such a supporting husband, I wanted to support her as much as I could.
You can't just say you're a supporting husband. Because I'm such a supporting husband, I graced her with the consent to let her do what she wants. Let's just remember, like, a sentence earlier, you just admitted to cheating on her on multiple occasions, and then now you're saying, look, I'm a really supportive husband, and that's why I let her do what she wanted. Imagine I stab my dog and then shove 10 chocolate bars down its fucking gob, and then go, you know what, guys, because I'm such a good dog owner, I actually took it to the hospital after I stabbed it, so, you know, I'm just saying. Fuck off with your supportive husband bollocks, man. How can you say that after what you've just admitted to?
And that's what she did. Through her ayahuasca journey, she was telling me how one moment she's a psychic. The next moment she felt like she was a healer. The next moment she turned me into a mermaid. I was being as supportive as I could. She even went as far as telling me that she was the reincarnated Virgin Mary. And that she no longer wanted to have sex with me, and she didn't want to use her body in that way.
To be fair, it does line up, and you gotta give her credit for living up to the name of the Ace Family. I came up with that joke in post, and I wish I was witty enough to say it during the recording.
You guys put yourself in my shoes, and if your significant other told you that they were the Virgin Mary and no longer wanted to have sex with you, what would you do? So as she was getting more connected to the spiritual side, we started growing further apart. And it was really sad because our conversations were only about spirituality.
So what you're basically saying here is that she went crazy and that you can't really trust what she's saying. But when she says something good about you, you can trust her then. You can trust her when she compliments you, but not when she says anything else. That's pretty convenient, isn't it? It's a good superpower. You can choose what to believe, what not to believe, what she believes, and what she says that she truly doesn't believe. You know, if it helps my story, makes me look a good guy, I will choose to believe it and cherry pick it and use it as evidence against her. But if it makes her look crazy, I'm going to take that, use that, and use it as evidence that she is untrustworthy. So is she untrustworthy, or did she consider you her soulmate? Can you fucking pick one, please, pal? This is someone who is clearly going through a lot. Like, if my partner came to me and said something like that, my first thought wouldn't be, I need to cheat on this fucker as soon as possible. My first thought would be, oh my god, we need to get you help. The sex part can come later, right? That should not be the forefront of your concern here. It should be, what is going on with my wife? They're clearly going through something. Let me help them out.
During this process and her going out, traveling and going on retreats, she found somebody. And I came across their messages, and I didn't know what to make of it. I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't understand it. But she told me that they were friends that met through their spiritual journey on one of these retreats. Just friends. Here are the messages that I came across that I didn't know what to think of it. And that's why I took her word and believed her, because I had no idea what the fuck this meant. What does that mean?
What is that? Those look like AI generated, like ChatGPT images.
And so we get a divorce and we go our separate ways. Her new partner moves in with her.
You're getting choked up here or whatever, and I get it, she cheated on you, I guess, but like, I mean, do I really need to state the, how the fuck can you complain about that when this whole thing has been, yeah, I did cheat on her, I'm really sorry, I felt really bad, but she didn't know, but she also didn't give me permission, but also this and that, and she went mental. You are just a strange sod, didn't you? And when you look this bad, when you have all the power, and like, you are presenting it in the way that you want to, in the way that makes you look as good as possible, and you still look this bad, I think that says a lot.
When she was doing ayahuasca, when I was living with her, she would do it away from me, away from the kids, and outside of the house, where she would go to a professional. I'm sure you heard of Linnell. She's taken pictures with her. She's praised her. And Linnell was once a family member of ours. And Linnell has been a professional in this field and has been studying this field for damn near 15, 20 years. And when Catherine got her own spot and she was living with her boyfriend, she decided to take Linnell's business away from her, her clientele, and decided to do the ayahuasca ceremonies and her hosting them at her house, in her home where my kids lay their head. And it got so bad. Sorry, I promised myself I wasn't even gonna fucking cry in this video because I'm just angry.
Unironically, so far, that is without doubt the most damning sort of allegation against Catherine, because that is a really shitty thing to do. Once again, if it is true, who knows how reliable it is. I'm sure Catherine will explain this away in some way or another, but we'll see what kind of evidence there is on both sides. If there's nothing, then there's nothing. We just don't know who to believe. But if that is true, undoubtedly, that is a shitty thing to do. And like I said, Catherine's no saint. She was still complicit in this entire family channel bullshit.
Oh, I never said that, but I will say that everyone who knows me in my life, like everyone who knows me personally, knows how deeply connected I am to Mother Mary. I even have like necklace, like I always wear her on my neck, and I even have a statue of her in front of my house for protection. But I will say, like, I just feel like since we're all one, you know, like we're all connected, she's within all of us and you can connect to her at any time. And yeah, I just feel like that's such a deep thing that like I carry with me in my life, and I'm so connected to her. And yeah, I feel like that's probably why he said it. But yeah, I never said that.
Right. Well, I don't know exactly what to make of that. So yeah, she's very fucking weird. Like, she's a strange individual and was doing ayahuasca like once a month in the family house in front of her children. I mean, maybe not in front of her children, but in the same household as her children. They could walk in at any second and watch her do these like hosting sessions, which is very, very fucking bad. And she doesn't seem to realize how bad that is because she's so spiritual and thinks it's this great thing and is so, I guess, in touch with Mother Mary, whatever that means. It's a lot more convincing when Paul McCartney says it, but this lassie, not so much. Ayahuasca is like a heavy illegal substance in the USA, by the way. You cannot be doing that shit in the same household as your children. It's like taking acid or LSD in front of your bastard kids. That shit is not acceptable. You cannot be doing that, especially hosting sessions with other individuals, like a lot of people in your house where your children live and your husband doing these things. It's not a good thing. It's really bad. We've been attacking Austin a lot this video. It's only fair that we criticize Catherine for the shit that she was doing as well. And as much as she certainly was struggling, there's a lot of people who are in far worse positions than her who don't do something so irresponsible when their children are around. And it'd be one thing if it was that one consistent fuck up, but you know, once again, as I've stated so much in this video, she was the co-leader of the biggest, most exploitative family channel on the fucking internet. So right off the bat, she's a very manipulative, unlikable, exploitative individual. And anyone who knows anything about ayahuasca or is aware of how it works and the culture surrounding it, it's a very popular drug in South America mainly. Nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea are like the most expected symptom. Then it's not that they're common symptoms, it's that they are like almost fucking guaranteed when you go on ayahuasca, especially when you're a little bit more inexperienced. And there's no doubt in my mind that when there is that many people doing it that often in the same place, there was a lot of vomiting going on. Like, it's the type of drug where you're vomiting all over your cell and you just don't give a fuck because you're having this enlightening, incredible experience. Yeah, I mean, to be doing that shit under the same roof as your children, it's one thing if you do it on your own because you want to go on this journey and you just feel as though it's the best thing in your life. If you want to do what you want with your life, I'm not gonna fucking judge you for it, but when you have children under that same roof, you cannot be doing this shit.
She forced her friends to do it, and they came to me very concerned because they didn't have a good experience with their ayahuasca journey. And they said, Austin, I'm very concerned, not only for Catherine, but for your kids, because this is where they sometimes sleep. And she had random people that come in and out of her house that she doesn't know that are all participating in this illegal substance together, that are all hallucinating and having all different types of experiences, that this is not a safe environment. Somehow they found someone in Brazil to help them illegally import this ayahuasca shit. And they've been hosting these ayahuasca ceremonies for the past year at Catherine's house where my kids lay their head. And after her friends came to me and voiced their concern, I knew I really only had two options. Either I get full custody of the kids, or I spend more time with them to protect them. And I think you guys know what option I chose. I never, ever wanted to do that to her. As you guys know, I've showed so much love to that woman.
Well, you did cheat on her. This is what I mean. It's like, yeah, you're calling her out for something that is undoubtedly shitty. Like, for sure, this is rough as fuck. And in this particular instance, I do feel bad for you. And I understand why you'd be worried for your children when the mother of those children is doing this horrible shit in front of them. Or not in front of them, but you know what I mean. You're in no state to parent when you're on ayahuasca. But then you end the video with some bullshit like, I showed so much love to that woman. It's like, no, you just admitted to fucking cheating on her. So I guess the conclusion here is, we need to call CPS immediately. Because both of these parents are not fit. This is why they couldn't do the full custody thing. He's like, one option was to get full custody of the children. Yeah, good luck going to a judge and saying, I cheat on my wife horrendously, and she's constantly on ayahuasca. We also have a family channel where they're constantly on blast with cameras in their faces every second of every day for the past 7 years. In the middle of your fucking spiel, the judge is gonna pause your sentence and go, right, I understand what's going on here. Both of you need to fuck out of this court, and we're finding some new, responsible people to take care of these children, because you two are clearly not fit for it. You're airing out your fucking grievances with each other and arguing like any other parents who've gone through a really bad divorce, except those parents aren't doing it in front of millions of people via Snapchat fucking stories. These two are not fit to raise children. That much is clear as day. But once again, I have to specify, if what he's saying is true, because there is no evidence that these mad ayahuasca trips were actually happening. All we know is that she is spiritual and a little bit strange. You know, to respond to very serious concerns about your parenting and the things you were doing in your household in front of your children with, we're all one, we're all together, and I love the Virgin Mary, yeah, it doesn't give off the best impression. It's one thing to think that and express that, that's totally fine if you're just that type of person, but to use it as a response to people with genuine concerns about your children is strange, in my opinion.
That's something that I can never do to her, and that I would never do to the kids. But when I hear that she is also educating my kids on what ayahuasca is, and that she is telling me that they will be able to experience ayahuasca if they want.
Now, there's no way. This is like some fantasy, but this is like fan fiction. There's just no way she said that shit. Again, I wouldn't put it past these Family Channel freaks, but like, that's too much. I feel like you would have brought that shit up first thing in this video, because that's mad. If that's true, that is mad. You're an absolute fucking disgrace. If you're doing that to your, if you're saying that shit to your, that's disgraceful. That is disgraceful. I really fucking hope that's not true. I hope she addresses that later on. And if she doesn't even, I guess we just don't know who to trust. It's he said, she said, which, how fun. What is this fucking picture? What is this gonna, this is not gonna prove anything.
All of them in Catherine's house, experiencing the ayahuasca journey that they had together. And this boy right here is only 12 years old doing ayahuasca. Mind you, no one here is a professional. No one here studied ayahuasca for years and years. I don't know if you guys know how dangerous that is, but all it takes is for one bad experience and it changes all of our lives. Not just Catherine. Not just mine, but my kids. And so I took it in my own hands to have my kids more, try to spend more time with them. And I'm sure you guys seen that. You guys seen that, how hands-on I am and how much they're with me. And I also believe that everything happens for a reason. I was never ever going to talk about this.
Again, who knows about any of the evidence in the picture? There isn't really any evidence. Maybe some of them were educated. Who knows if that kid is actually 12 years old? Once again, if it's true, it's fucking disgusting. If it's not, why would you lie about such a thing? The response of, I need to spend more time around my kids, I guess makes sense to an extent, but once again, the evidence being Snapchat stories and like Instagram posts of you being around your children is a bunch of bollocks. Surely a more apt response would be to have a conversation with her, say something along the lines of, look, Catherine, I'm really concerned at you doing this ayahuasca thing in the same house as the children. Could you maybe just do it in a more safe and controlled environment with someone who knows what they're doing? Something like that, which would be the most appropriate thing to do. Undoubtedly, you would have fucking mentioned it, which you didn't. I mean, knowing how self-obsessed you are, you definitely would have mentioned it, but you didn't. So either the story isn't true, or you didn't handle it like a fucking actual adult would. Also, this whole story here, this entire Snapchat journey was supposed to be you clearing the air and explaining why the snippet was untrue or whatever. Instead, you're just airing out everyone's dirty laundry, bringing out all the skeletons in everyone's closets and making it even bigger of a shit show than it already was, which I understand to an extent if you feel as though you're being betrayed by her. But at the same time, in this video, you're talking about how you never planned to make this public. But if you never planned to make this public, why were you recording her without her knowledge? Why were you screenshotting fucking everything? You very obviously knew this was going to be public, at least. At the very least, you knew this would become public at some point. Whether or not you wanted it public, I can't say for sure, but it's just difficult to believe you. In my experience, when people record you without your knowledge or consent, they plan on using that against you at some point and making it public. Because if this is true and she's offering ayahuasca to your bastard children, I don't care how bad it makes you look. You have to have that chat with her, and if she says no, you need to call a rehab center and try to, like, you know, sort some shit out there. And if that don't work, you need to go to a custodial judge and be like, look, I understand that I'm not a saint here either. I'm unfaithful. We have this family channel, but I just don't feel as though my kids are safe around her. Because realistically, that's what you should be doing if she is this genuinely dangerous to your children. Which offering them hallucinogenics like ayahuasca when they're 7 years old, the oldest one is 7 years old, yeah, you absolutely need to get custody of those children. You cannot be having a mother trudging about the house offering your children ayahuasca when they're that young. That is solid grounds to get custody over those kids. And the fact that you didn't do anything of the sort, and the only response you could think of was to spend more time around the children, means one of two things. One, you're completely lying, or at least very much over-exaggerating aspects of the story, or two, the story is true and you handled it in the worst fucking way possible.
And when it comes to the things that she said about me in that book, I'm gonna repeat this one last time. She manipulated that event, and she did not tell the full truth about me stepping out of our marriage. And now you guys know the full truth and why it happened.
No, we fucking don't. We just heard you say a bunch of words and show no evidence. We do not know what happened by any means, and for anyone who thinks they know what happened because this fucker got on camera, shed a few tears, and said a bunch of things, I would say that you're maybe a little bit too naive for the internet.
Obviously, nothing will change when it comes to me being a father. So again, you guys can take what you want, but I'm going to continue doing what I want to do. And this is going to be the last time I talk about everything.
I don't believe that bit for a second. I believe the average politician's statement more than I believe him saying that he'll never talk about this again. The second Catherine pipes up, he'll be right back on Snapchat stories.
I'm going to move forward and focus on myself because I've done a lot of healing myself. I've grown a lot myself, and I am in a completely new chapter of my life.
I see what you did there, because it's like a book, and you're in a new chapter of your life. It's smart. I like that. It's the best part about this video. But, look, before I conclude very quickly, let's watch Catherine's response to a lot of this shit.
Because I was pregnant with 2 children, that's why.
Not trying to be rude, but genuinely asking if you knew he was doing these things, why stay? Why not leave in that moment? And her response was because she was pregnant with 2 children. I don't know what she means by she was pregnant with 2 children. You were pregnant with one and then got pregnant with another, so maybe a little bit disingenuous, but like, all in all, it's fair enough to say, I didn't want to leave because I was pregnant and I was thinking about the children. Obviously, we cannot derive the intentions of the two. We know that they're both quite untrustworthy, so we don't know who to believe here. We do know that Austin was cheating on her, and I will say the fact that Austin was at least a little bit truthful in terms of some of the bad things that he's done, but Catherine has not taken any accountability for any of the shit that she's done, when we know, at the very least, that they both were very exploitative of their children and ran a very manipulative and shady business surrounding them. It does add something, some semblance of credibility to McBroom's side of the story, but only a tiny bit. It's still a grossly manipulative video, and I still do think that the excuse of I was pregnant is a relatively decent one to staying in a relationship when you know that he was cheating on you. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's not really any of our fucking business.
To be honest, I was expecting it. I've been expecting that kind of reaction for many years, which is why it took me so long to put this out. I think that I was preparing myself and gaining strength to tell my story and to share it with you guys. And I hope that you guys also get to share your stories, because, you know, our stories deserve to be told, and holding something inside of you for so long, eventually everything comes to light. I hope that you guys read the whole book. I'm so excited for you guys to read it.
I don't think I'm going to read that book, personally, unless you guys want me to. You know what, if this video gets 20,000 likes, I will read the book. If you want that in English, I'm never reading that fucking book.
To be honest, yes, it did bother me, and I felt really hurt, because a lot of the things he said were completely fabricated. But however, I still love him, and even in the book, I wrote so many beautiful things, and you guys will see. And I also did this step to him that I call him my greatest teacher, which I do truly still believe that. I actually told him that today in a text when we were texting earlier. But yeah, I just want people to love both of us. I just want to tell my story. I just want to free myself from, the last 6-7 years of my life and things that I haven't shared. And I'm just excited for this new part of my life. And yeah, I hope that, he gets all the love, and I care about him truly. And but at the end of the day, it's those things were fabricated, and it does still hurt, so. Yeah,
she is a strange lassie, isn't she? Is that too far? I feel like we can all agree universally that this is strange. It's an odd response, for sure. Surely you would say something along the lines of course I wasn't doing ayahuasca and vomiting all over myself in front of those children, and it was a controlled environment, and my kids have nothing to do with it, and they're totally safe. Not, I just want everyone to be loved and people to love him, and even though he told me all these defamatory, life-ruining lies about me, I still love him and I want you all to support him. Yeah, it's strange. It's definitely fucking weird.
I feel like our biggest similarity is that we both both are very, very, very spiritually connected. Like we both.
We try.
Yeah, we try. We forget sometimes.
Because we are humans.
Yeah. Human is hard. But then when we remember, it's nice. Being awake in the dream.
I really don't know what to fucking think about these people, man.
I was already moving in, and I had seen a spirit in my house, and he was playing the piano. He was on my piano playing the piano, and I thought, like, because I mean, this is another topic, but I can see spirits. And so I thought, like, I wonder who that is. And it didn't give me, like, bad vibes. It was, like, very good energy, very artistic. And then I find out months later, and he lived there, and he was super artistic. And what's interesting about him is he actually passed away in my house.
Part of me doesn't want to be, like, too judgmental when it comes to all this stuff, because where I was growing up, there were bare Jamaican Don. Anyone who knows about Jamaica, because these people were, like, heavy first-gen Jamaican Don who came over from Jamaica to the UK, and anyone who knows anything about, like, hardcore Jamaicans, there's a lot of black magic, a lot of spirituality, a lot of that stuff that goes down in the culture, and a lot of them were fucking lovely people who, like, you could trust with your life, man. But when you cross-reference these monologues with Austin's perspective on things, yeah, it doesn't look great. It's like I've been saying this whole video, but not really been talking about too much because we've not really seen much of Catherine, but the real victims here are the children. I don't really feel that bad for Austin. I don't really feel that bad for Catherine, even though she was definitely hard done by and treated like shit by her cheating husband.
He meditates every single day, like multiple times a day. And he's literally in this position. And I love how Elfie's attached to it. But he's literally in this position every day. I will share videos. I have a lot of videos of him meditating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about it. Wow.
Yeah. Well, one time you were meditating and there was hummingbirds around you.
Oh, yeah.
So I made a video.
Totally.
But because he meditates as often as he does, I've been trying. He tells me to meditate, which it's really hard when you're like so in your head, so in your mind, and you have so much going on in your life, and you have kids, and you have so much to do, and you forget that meditation is actually one of the most important, if not the most important things you can do.
That's how we can clean our minds, you know? That's how we can like be calm, be in peace, realize we are here, and let it be.
There's a quote that says, if you want to communicate with God, you pray, and if you want God to communicate with you, you meditate. Maybe I didn't say it like exactly how it's worded, but that's kind of the gist of what that is. So
Bro, all three of these men are booky, I can't lie. I actually think I'm gonna stop watching the Catherine videos and Austin videos. We're done with that section of this video because I really don't know what to say to these videos about Catherine talking about spirituality and how she has, you know, all these responsibilities and meditation, and I don't know how I feel about her boyfriend either, who I don't know anything about. I will read some of the responses to the actual snippet though, because I'd like to see what other people are saying about it. I don't know how men willingly cheat when they have a great partner who they built a family and empire with at home, which is completely fair enough. Although, how do you unwillingly cheat? Is the willingly not redundant there? Bro is a millionaire and had her living in a mansion without paying any bills, but wants to be a victim and write a book on his betrayal because he smashed other chicks. Give me a break. Can I give you guys a little lesson on communicating in internet speak? If a sentence starts with bro, disregard anything that comes after it. Bro said, or bro did, or bro does, anything that starts with bro, you just know is going to be the most brain-dead take fucking anyone could ever make. I genuinely believe that if we just banned the word bro from internet forums, it would be a far better place. Everyone who talks like that is the most insufferable fucking prick ever. I don't know how women still don't understand men like variety, so if you want an N-word that don't look at other bitches, go get that N-word who flip burgers. He won't be able to afford to cheat. If you don't want that and you want your man to be successful, be ready for him to have other women. I've just checked his account and it's just all him retweeting Myron Gaines. If you actually care about the black community, you would on everything bro saying is true. I care about the black community. Let's see what I need to stand by.
Because it's interesting how during the Jim Crow era, when segregation was at its highest, the black community did the best. Why? Because the family stuck together. They were trying to make their own businesses. They were having their own communities. They stuck together. Okay? The family unit kept things going despite the fact that they had the most persecution.
Oh God. I forget how misogynistic and racist Twitter is, man. These fucking idiots. They're all such fools. I'm so glad my audience is not like this. Black people were literally second-class citizens during segregation. They were strong despite it, not because of it, you tools. You know, I can't believe we've got to a point in this fucking Ace Family video where I'm talking about two ignorant Uncle Tom-ass fools on the fucking Dankyjabo YouTube channel. So you know what? I think we're done with this video. I've just dropped my microphone. But even my filming equipment don't want to hear any of this bullshit. So look, I guess the conclusion is that Austin is a shithead, a much bigger shithead than Catherine from what we know of. Catherine is also not innocent by any means. The one thing we know that they both did is run the biggest family channel, the most exploitative family channel on the bastard internet. We also know for a fact that Austin McBroom was a serial cheater and a horrible husband, especially during the latter half of their marriage. We also know that he put together a horribly manipulative video, was recording her without her consent, and was just all around being a really shitty person. No surprise there. We also know that Catherine is, at the very least, a bit strange, and that she's no saint either. But if we look at all the hard evidence that we have, I think it is far more reasonable to be more on the side of Catherine than it is to be on the side of Austin. Goes without saying that if there is any truth to the ayahuasca trips that Austin was talking about, then yeah, Catherine is a far worse person than we originally thought as well. But either which way, none of them are innocent. Austin's far worse, and the only people that I truly feel bad for are the 3 children. With that, however, I think we're about done with this video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed watching, like the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye!